Every time I score a goal past this pro keeper, the football I'm using will get older until we get all the way back to 500 BC. First up, we have the most modern ball of the video from 2025.
So first up, we've got the 2025 ball. This is the Euro ball. It's obviously the most modern ball we've got in this list. It feels good, it's got good padding. I like the design. For looks, I'm gonna rate this, I reckon, an 8 out of 10. It looks pretty good.
So I've created a graph where I'll rate the looks of every football in this video, and it's going to be interesting to see if the designs of footballs really have gotten better over the years. I'll also be ranking these balls on 2 other metrics. The first being how many attempts does it take me to score past a pro goalie, and secondly, how many attempts does it take me to complete my hardest skill.
First up, let's see how the modern 2025 ball gets on. There we go. 1 attempt with the 2025 ball. We'll take that.
So it's a very impressive start from our modern ball, taking just 1 attempt. It's going to be really interesting to see how this chart looks by the end of the video. But next up is the shooting test.
So it only took 1 attempt to complete my hardest skill with the 2025 ball. Will it be the same for the shooting test?
Connor O'Keefe is the goalie I've got to get past. Let's see how I get on.
Con, ready?
Ready, bud.
Get there. Oh,
Effort.
And on just my 3rd attempt, I scored this banger.
Get there. Oh! 2025 ball, you absolute beauty.
Wow. Some goal that.
So just 3 attempts to score past the pro keeper and a great performance all round for our most modern ball. Now we roll back the clock just 2 years for the next football of the video. So this was the official ball of the 2022 World Cup, and I think the design on this ball is class, so I'm going to rate it a 9 out of 10 for looks. On the skills test, it took me 3 attempts to complete my hardest trick. So decent score there as well. Now let's see how it gets on against our pro goalie.
2022 ball for shooting. This is a really nice ball. I'm expecting it to do well. Right. Ready?
Yes, mate.
Oh my God. We will take that 1 attempt from the 2022 ball.
So a great performance from the 2022 football, but as we roll back the years, I'm expecting these balls to get much worse. We're even going to test out a ball from 2,500 years ago that FIFA believed to be the first known football. But next up, we head to 2015, where we start to see our first drop in quality.
Right, so the 2015 ball is a Champions League ball, obviously iconic. I'll give this a 7 out of 10 for looks. And if I'm honest, going back to 2015, this ball does feel just a bit stiffer than the others and not as good quality, which is interesting because if this is what it's like 5 years ago, when we get to the older balls, they're going to be pretty bad.
So up next is the skills test.
Yes, that was nice. And probably the cleanest one so far as well.
And this took me 3 attempts. Now let's see how this ball compares on the shooting test.
So I've got to admit, I've done well on the shooting test so far. Now we've got the 2015 ball and it doesn't feel quite as nice as the more modern balls, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, let's give it a go. Save. Oh no. Oh,
Good effort.
oh, go on. Ah. Yep. Ah, save.
So it's taken me a lot longer to score with the 2015 football, but eventually after 11 shots, I scored this banger.
There it is. Oh, oh my God, that was unreal.
So a quality goal from our 2015 football, but it did take 11 attempts, so we've already started to see our first decrease in performance across the board. But next up, we head to 2010, and we couldn't go through all the footballs in history without including the Jabulani. This ball is 15 years old now, but still looks fantastic, so I'm going to have to rate the design an 8 out of 10. This ball is a lot nicer to kick than the 2015 football, and as we all know, it knuckles like crazy. Let's see how it performs on our skills test.
Whoa. There we go, Jabulani, 4 attempts.
So 4 attempts for the Jabulani, and this graph is starting to take shape, but now it's time for the shooting test, and I'm expecting big things from the Jabulani.
Let's see how this does for shooting. Oh, that move.
Yeah, I did.
Yes! Oh,
Oh,
yes.
no.
Come on.
So a great performance from the Jabulani, taking just 3 attempts to score a goal. And there's no obvious pattern on our shooting graph just yet, but now we travel back another 5 years to 2005 for our next football. This is the Nike T90 Aero, one of the most iconic footballs in history. To say this ball's 20 years old, it still feels pretty well made.
Looks wise, a lot of people, this is their favourite looking football. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because it's just so iconic, the design's class.
It's definitely a bit stiffer than the more modern balls, but it's not too bad at all. But how will it perform on our skills test?
Right, 2006 T90 ball. Some insane skills have happened with this ball over the years, so I'm hoping first try it feels good. There we go. First try. What a football.
So just one attempt, and we were starting to see a bit of a pattern emerge on our skills graph, but this ball has just thrown things off. I'm interested to see how this graph looks by the end of the video. Next up is the shooting test.
Starting to hit the nostalgia footballs now. This might be one of my favourites.
When you think about footballs for shooting, the T90 ball has got to be up there. Iconic. Let's see how it does.
Feels light.
It is definitely a very light ball. It just seems to fly and keep rising.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, this is definitely the lightest ball so far, and it's actually really nice to hit. It's hard to keep under control though. Oh my God. You can't stop them.
So I was expecting my shots to get a lot worse as we went down the years, but if anything, the goals are just getting better. 6 shots to score with our 2005 football. Now we travel back another 3 years to 2002. This is the halfway point of the video and probably the last of the decent footballs. After this ball, things start to go downhill pretty quickly. This is the Adidas Fever Nova, the official ball of the 2002 World Cup. This ball was engineered to have more accuracy than previous World Cup balls, and many of the players praise the responsiveness of this football. It's definitely got a very unique design, but I do think it looks really cool. So I'm going to rate this ball an 8 out of 10 for looks. As for the build quality, it does feel fairly cheap, despite costing £250 on eBay, as it's a favourite of many football collectors. But how will it do on our skills test?
All right, let's see how it does. Feels really solid. And a little bit slippy, to be fair.
So absolutely no problem there from the Fever Nova. Our skills graph is not showing any sort of pattern whatsoever, but I'm expecting a clear line going like this for the rest of the footballs. But how will the 2002 Fever Nova perform on the shooting test?
Right, 2002 Fever Nova. This is where things start to get pretty horrible. It's very hard, very plasticky. On a cold day like today, I think it's going to sting a bit.
You can hear it when you bounce it. I used to love this ball though.
It looks really nice. I definitely feel like this ball hasn't got as much padding on it and doesn't fizz quite as nice as the others. Doesn't seem to travel as fast as well.
So I was having a hard time scoring with this ball.
Man.
But eventually I hit the back of the net.
There we go. Yes! Right in the corner, finally. I'm pretty sure that took the longest so far.
So 11 attempts for our 2002 ball. But now we move to the 1990s, and this is a ball I've been dreading. This is the Mitre Pro Max and the first ever Premier League football. It just reminds me of cold Sunday league mornings down the local pitch, and getting hit with one of these in the winter months is a pain I'll never forget.
Right, so I think we've just reached the worst ball of the video so far, the Mitre ball from 1995. This thing is so stiff, it's horrible. Looks wise, it's nothing that special either. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
So what's this ball like for skills? I'm gonna guess not very good.
This could be one of the worst balls for skills. It's slippy, it's hard. It's got not much padding. There we go.
7 attempts for the 1990s ball, and it's the worst performance so far. But next up is shooting.
Right, now this is where things really start to go downhill. The 1995 Mitre ball, absolutely solid. This is gonna hurt to kick this.
This ball is from the year that I was born. It is as old as me, and it looks it, to be fair.
Mate, I'm actually scared to kick this thing. Let's go. Comes with sound effects, this ball.
This whole bit is just going to be you going, and me going,
Oh my God. That is, I don't know why it's so much worse than all the others. This one is without a doubt the worst ball so far, no questions about it. So the slap gets a lot louder with this one.
A lot of slap.
Oh, wow. Oh man. Save. As a goalie, do you have a worse ball so far? Actually, apart from the Jabulani, of course.
Yeah, jab's horrid. Obviously, the new ones still have a lot of movement and they're light and fast. As they get older, they stay on their line a lot more. So as soon as you hit it, it stays where it's going.
Yeah.
Whereas the newer ones, they can dip and swerve and do all sorts.
Oh. Get in there. Oh. I feel like the only way this ball's going in is in the bottom corner. I just can't picture this sailing top bins.
So I was having a hard time scoring with this ball, so I resorted to using brute force and went for a volley.
Maybe it just needs a little cheerer. Oh! He's done it.
So despite a decent goal, it still took 16 attempts for our 1990s ball to hit the back of the net. Our worst performing ball so far, but our next football is 50 years old. Surely that's got to be worse. This is the Adidas Telstar. It was made in a classic black and white design so that it would be more visible on televisions, hence the name Telstar. And this classic design has since gone on to be the world symbol of what a football looks like. So looks wise, it is timeless, but nothing too crazy, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. On the skills test, this ball was quite slippy, so it took me 7 attempts to complete my hardest trick. But how will a 50-year-old football perform when it comes to shooting?
Right, 1974 Adidas Telstar. Yeah, honestly, to say it's that old, it feels okay.
Made of genuine leather, it was the best ball of its time, but that time was a long time ago. So let's see how it compares to the other balls in this video.
Save. 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 Thing is, I don't want to blame the ball for this taking me so long because it actually feels pretty good. Oh. There it is. Oh. There it is. Oh. Get in. Ah, oh, shoot. Oh. Yes. Oh, we'll take it. Just straight power, just like in the 70s.
So it took me 15 attempts to score with our 1970s football, and we're starting to see a bit of a trend emerge on these graphs. But next up, we travel back to 1966 for a ball that's different to any other we've tested so far. This is the official ball of the 1966 World Cup. Yeah, the one when England won. It's a bright orange leather ball, something you don't see very often, and it's made by British manufacturer Slazenger. And this was chosen to be the World Cup ball as it was the best of its kind in the 1960s. But the first thing I noticed was that it seems a lot bigger than any other football so far. Almost feels like it should be a size 6. But let's test it out and see how it compares to the rest of the footballs in history. First off, we're going to rate the design. It's certainly unique, but it is just an orange ball, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. How will it perform for skills?
This is going to be really difficult just because it's so slippy. Oh, it's heavy as well. This ball's seriously just so slippy. Oh, you know what? I'm actually really impressed with how these older balls are getting on. I thought there was going to be no chance, but they're doing pretty good.
5 attempts for our 1960s ball on the skills test. Next up, shooting with this ball. That's going to be interesting.
This ball is not even round and just seems a lot bigger than all the other footballs. Oh, oh man. Whoa. Get in. Yeah. That's it, direct along the floor, old school. So the one thing it does move quite quick.
Yeah, it skids as well.
Because it's so slippy.
Yeah.
So just 7 attempts to score with our 1960s football, and it's surprising how well it actually performed. But now we travel back another 30 years for the next football of the video. So we're down to our last 3 balls, and this is where they start to get seriously old, as this next football was made 100 years ago.
1930s ball, we've all seen this, the classic brown leather ball. There's loads of scuff marks on here, there's little burn marks. The laces, it's not even the correct circular shape. Looks wise, realistically, it's a 3 out of 10.
Now let's try out the skills test with a 100-year-old football.
This is going to be difficult. All right. Whoa. That was genuinely first try with this ball. That is strange, but the grip and the weight actually kind of helped it in a way.
So a very unexpected result from our 1930s ball. I thought I'd be trying that trick all day, so that's thrown our graph completely off. But next up is shooting, and let's just say, once again, the results were unexpected.
I'm just glad it's not raining, because then that would be really difficult. Oh, wow.
Weird, isn't it? Like a size 3.
Yeah, it seems small as well. Oh, I don't know how this is going to go in, honestly. Oh, man. You know what? Do these balls even curve? Let's try it.
Nice effort.
So I was struggling to score a goal with this ball, but then out of nowhere, I scored what was probably the best goal of the video.
I think it's going to have to be a volley. Oh, no. Oh my, did that go in?
You know what? I think that might have gone in.
So 12 attempts from our 1900s football, and the shooting graph is starting to show a bit of a pattern, but now we have just 2 footballs left, and this is where things start to get really strange. So in the 1800s, we saw the first ever footballs made out of rubber, created by Charles Goodyear, who was an American chemist. I tried really hard to get my hands on one of these, but couldn't find one anywhere. So instead, we're taking a jump back all the way to 1500, where footballs look like this. It's said that the French used to make footballs out of beard hair and wine corks, and that's where this insane football comes into play. Now this one just has the wine corks, but I still think it looks really cool, so I'm going to rate the design a 7 out of 10. Now, I'm going to be honest, we're going to have to do things a little bit differently with this ball, as it's not the strongest. I wasn't able to do my hardest trick at all, so I'll put that all the way up here. And shooting, well, this happened when I tried to take a shot. So I'll put that at the very top as well. So with the 1500s ball not performing so well, now we can travel back another 2,000 years to the final football of the video. This is a Chinlone ball, and FIFA recognise it to be the first known form of a football. Originated between 250 and 500 BC, this would have been used in ancient China during a game not too dissimilar to freestyle football called Cuju. Its simple design is made by stringing wicker together, so it doesn't have much bounce, and as you can see, it's a lot smaller than a modern day football. Now, whilst this ball was mainly made for juggling and not shooting, we're still going to put it through all the tests. First up is design, and realistically, it's got to be a 2. What about skills? So because this ball's so small, it made doing technical skills really difficult, and I wasn't able to land my hardest trick. And finally, the shooting test.
Con says he's going to retire if this goes in, so... Oh. Get in. Oh, it just died.
it was on a good line.
Oh, he's done it.
So I was barely able to reach the goal with this ball, let alone score. So the oldest ball of the video goes at the top of the graph. So with all the footballs tested, let's take a look at the results. So the looks chart does show a clear decline over the years. So that means that footballs have definitely progressed when it comes to the design. On the skills test, we see a similar trend. It's taken me more and more attempts to complete my hardest skill as we travel back the years. And finally, the shooting test. This once again is very obvious. It's definitely taken me more attempts to score past our pro keeper as the footballs have gotten older. So with all that being said, which football was your favourite?